America's most iconic vacation spot is at serious risk of being cut off from the rest of the country. And the shocking part? It's not because of climate change or natural disasters. It's because of two old bridges that are literally falling apart under pressure. The Sagamore and Bourne Bridges, lifelines to Cape Cod, were built nearly a century ago. They were never meant to handle 38 million crossings a year. Today, they're cracked, congested, and dangerously outdated. Some call them engineering legends. Others call them ticking time bombs. Either way, replacing them isn't just about convenience. It's about survival. What's coming next isn't just a fix. It's a complete transformation. Twin bridges, multi-billion-dollar plans, giant arches floated into place over one of the busiest waterways in the Northeast. This isn't just another construction project. It's one of the most ambitious infrastructure overhauls in modern U.S. history. But here's the twist. The plan has sparked major controversy. Eminent domain battles, skyrocketing costs, and a funding strategy that relies heavily on federal dollars. All for a region that serves mostly local needs. So, should the rest of America foot the bill for Cape Cod's bridges? Is this a smart investment or an expensive gamble? In this video, we're diving into the full story, from the aging bones of the current structures to the futuristic designs of what's next, from political backlash to engineering breakthroughs. You'll see why this $4.5 billion project is both a necessity and a national debate. Stay with me, because what's happening in Cape Cod may be the blueprint for how America rebuilds its aging infrastructure, or a warning sign of what happens when we get it wrong. The Sagamore and Bourne Bridges aren't just old, they're nearly 90 years old. Built during the Great Depression, these bridges were once seen as symbols of progress and hope. Back then, Cape Cod was growing fast. The old drawbridges couldn't keep up. So, in the 1930s, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers stepped in and built something stronger, bigger, and better. For decades, the Sagamore and Bourne Bridges served millions of travelers heading to and from Cape Cod. But what worked in the 1930s doesn't work anymore. These bridges were designed for about 1 million crossings a year. Today, they handle over 38 million. That's the same as the Golden Gate Bridge. The result? Daily traffic jams, dangerous bottlenecks, long delays, especially in the summer, and worst of all, serious safety concerns. Tourists aren't the only ones at risk. These two bridges are also Cape Cod's only hurricane evacuation routes. If they fail during an emergency, tens of thousands of lives could be in danger. That's not just inconvenient, that's a potential disaster. To keep the bridges alive, several repairs have already been made. In the 1980s, both structures went through major rehab. Since then, more money has been spent every few years, and it's not cheap. In the next 6 years alone, the government expects to spend over $300 million just to keep the bridges safe and functional. But even with constant maintenance, the cracks are showing, literally and figuratively. In 2020, after years of studies and warnings, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers made it official. These bridges need to be replaced, not patched, not upgraded, replaced entirely. Why? Because constant repairs are no longer enough. The structures are outdated, overused, and overstressed, and the risks are growing. This moment marked a turning point. What had been talked about quietly for years was now a top priority. The Cape Cod bridges were no longer just a local issue. They became a national concern. And that's when the conversation shifted from repairs to rebuilding. So, what's the plan to rebuild these aging giants? The new vision is bold. Not just one bridge at each location, but two twin bridges for both the Sagamore and Bourne crossings. One bridge for each direction of traffic. That means smoother flow, fewer accidents, and less gridlock. But it's more than just extra lanes. These new bridges are being designed for the future. Let's start with the Sagamore Bridge. The new version will have wider lanes to handle heavy summer traffic. There will be dedicated paths for pedestrians and cyclists, completely separate from vehicles. This makes it safer for everyone, not just drivers. An extra lane will help vehicles merge on and off the bridge without slowing everyone down. It's a small detail that will make a big difference. The design itself will be an arch-style bridge, chosen not only for its look but also for its cost and speed of construction. It's more efficient to build, and people like the way it looks. The navigation channel below will also be widened. That's important because the canal it crosses is a busy route for cargo ships, military vessels, and cruise liners. One of the smartest parts of the design is safety. Inspired by recent bridge collapses, the new support pillars will be placed farther from the water channel to reduce the risk of ship strikes. The supports will have a W-shaped structure, not just stronger, but more balanced. Tests show each column can handle over 12 million pounds of force. The slope of the road will also be gentler. Right now, drivers have to climb a steep 6% grade. The new version will ease that down to 4%, making the ride smoother, especially for trucks and emergency vehicles. However, this change means more road work on the land to adjust for the new elevation. That's a whole project of its own. And the way it'll be built is clever too. Instead of shutting everything down, the central span will be built off-site, floated into position on the canal, and then lifted into place. This method was used successfully on other bridges and helps keep traffic moving during construction. A draft environmental impact report is expected by spring 2025. That will be followed by public feedback. Construction is planned to begin in late 2027 or early 2028. The work will take about 6 to 7 years. During that time, the old bridge will still stay open. The goal is to have the new Sagamore Bridge ready by 2034. Once that's done, attention will shift to the Bourne Bridge, which will follow a similar plan. Twin spans, wide lanes, multi-use paths, and safety upgrades. One small difference is the slope. It'll be slightly steeper, 4.5% instead of 4%, because of the way nearby roads are laid out. But it's still much better than what's there now. Now let's talk money. The total cost of replacing both bridges is estimated at $4.5 billion. That's a huge investment. The Sagamore Bridge alone will take about $2.1 billion. And here's the interesting part. Over 80% of the money is coming from federal funds. Some people think that's unfair since the project mainly helps Massachusetts. But others argue that Cape Cod is a major national tourist hub, and its access routes matter to more than just locals. As of now, $1.72 billion in federal support is secured. That includes nearly $1 billion from the Federal Highway Administration and hundreds of millions more from grants and budget allocations. The state of Massachusetts has also pledged about $700 million, helping to close the funding gap. Still, there's concern. Construction costs are rising everywhere. Projects across the country have gone over budget, some by 10% or more. If something similar happens here, $4.5 billion may not be enough, and that has some experts worried. Another issue is the surrounding road network. To connect the new Sagamore Bridge smoothly with nearby highways, more land is needed. This means the government is using eminent domain, the legal right to buy private property for public use. Some local homeowners are upset. They believe less disruptive designs were possible. But despite protests, the plan is moving ahead. The stakes are high. According to the Cape Cod Chamber of Commerce, if these bridges fail or if access is disrupted, the region could lose up to 30% of its economic output. Tourism, shipping, and even emergency services depend on these routes. The Cape Cod Canal is also busy. Over 21,000 vessels used it in 2017 alone. So the bridge replacements must be done carefully to avoid disrupting ship traffic. The good news? The construction method and bridge design both aim to reduce interference. In the end, the Cape Cod Bridges program is more than a replacement project. It's a blueprint for how America can rebuild its aging infrastructure, safely, smartly, and sustainably. It honors the legacy of two historic bridges while preparing for a century of future travel. This story isn't just about Cape Cod. It's about what happens when old systems meet modern needs, and how we choose to respond.